All right, this is going to be a long video. And for those of you that don't understand how time works, look at how long the video is going to be and plan accordingly. Get your popcorn or whatever you got to do and settle in. Because just me playing the video and listening to what Kim has to say is like an hour by itself. So it's definitely going to be more than an hour because I'm going to react to everything she said. And for the sake of time, I will speed up her report, her UNN report, so I can get through it. Because if not, I'll be here all day trying to make this video. I wanted to react to the whole thing, but I'm only going to react to the Charlie Kirk part. Again, for the sake of time. Because Sonny did say a lot of good things also. But, you know, I'll talk about that as we go on. The main thing that Sonny talked about was discernment, but I'll talk about that later on in the video. I do have a bunch of notes. There's no way I could have made this video without having notes or a little bit of a script. So if I'm pausing or reading through my notes and all of that, bear with me. It is a little bit of a scripted, not scripted video, but you know, I have notes and things I want to talk about, points I want to touch on. So also, I've had people complain to me in the past, believe it or not, people that are Kim Goguen supporters, about me talking when I show Kim's content. I need you guys to understand this is my channel. This is not Kim Goguen channel. And I'm reacting to the things she says, so you're going to hear me. So if you don't like someone reacting to what Kim says and you just want to hear what she has to say, she has UNN as her website. She has other social media. You can go follow her there. Don't waste your time here because I am going to talk. I'm going to say the things I need to say. That's the whole point of me making this video. That's the whole point of my channel, is to say the things I want to say, right? Probably not going to swear or curse as much. I'm going to be a little bit more calm just because I usually am when I watch Kim Goguen or I talk about Kim Goguen. There's no reason for me to really spaz out like I do on my other videos. Let me see what else I want to talk about. But yeah, this is definitely going to be a deep dive. And I need you guys to really support me. I need you to help me out here. I need you to sub to the channel. Leave a like. I don't usually do this in the beginning of the video, but I'm doing it now because if you go try to find my channel in incognito mode on YouTube, you're not gonna find me. I was scrolling for like at least 2 minutes down the page on YouTube. I couldn't find my channel. I was finding all these other Real Truth channels with like pictures of animals as their profile picture, 2 subscribers and all of that, and I'm like, really? So I'm shadow banned. All right, I need you guys to understand that. That's why I need you to support me. That's why I need you to subscribe. But that's why I need you to share my videos. I need you to hit the like button because that helps to get my content out in the algorithm. And that's just what it is. I'm just screwed. And that's why my channel doesn't grow. My channel's been stagnant for a year. Even if it doesn't matter if I make videos or not. If YouTube is shadow banning me, the only way that I can really grow is for you guys to help me out and share my content. Another thing I want to talk about is, if you think that I'm an angry person or I just get mad for no reason, you guys need to understand something. My anger is towards evil or anything that supports evil. I think being naive is evil. Why? Because you allow yourself to be taken advantage of by evil forces. So you're just, to me, as guilty as the evil ones. Now, if you're naive and you're willing to listen to people and come over to the good side and see, you know, learn from your mistakes and not fall for the same shit again and again, then I'm willing to work with you. But if you keep letting the demons control you because you're too stupid and naive to see through the bullshit, there's nothing that I can do for you. You're pretty much in the same category as the evil ones. So for those of you that get offended by my words or my anger, you don't understand my rage, you need to understand the evil that we're dealing with. You can't reason with it. You can't cuddle it. you can't, have fun with it and hold hands with it. That's just not going to work, unfortunately. Look at what Kim does. Those of you that watch Kim, what does she do? She literally annihilates them. And I need you guys to understand this. How do people get offended, people that watch Kim Goguen? Because I've had people from her community say, oh, you shouldn't curse so much, blah, blah, blah. How do you get offended by curse words? But Kim literally kills people. And you guys are okay with that. But you're offended by my curse words? Are you fucking joking? Get your shit together. Get your priorities straight. Seriously, grow the fuck up. And again, I can't contain my anger when I hear stupid shit like that. I can't. Because that's the good side. The good side is so diluted. And that's why we can't fix the problems, because the good side is so lost. If you guys got your shit together, we could easily fix this. The good side would easily destroy the evil side. The light side versus the dark, however you want to look at it. But you guys can't figure out simple stuff. And you have too much pride, too much ego, too much arrogance to do anything that needs to be done. On top of that, you're complacent and you're lazy. Plus, you're cowards. There are a lot of negative things on the good side that I don't like. But that's why I talk the way I talk, because I'm trying to wake you guys up. It's okay to be a good person. What I want is good for the world. Even if I don't say it in the prettiest way like Kim does, and I don't put it in a nice little bow for you or a pretty little dress. What I want is to help humans to be free from the demons. That's what I want. Same thing that Kim wants. Same thing that Kim is doing. We just have different ways of doing it and different ways of saying it. And she understands that when she's talking to humans, she has to talk to them in a certain way, right? I'll give you an example. And this is one of the reasons why I stopped watching her. Because she started to use the word God in place of source or make them equivalent. I'm very much against religion because it has enslaved humans for a long time, and she knows this. She's talked about this. Yet she's still using the word God, which is the biggest problem with humans when it comes to religion, because they worship God. So when Kim says God, I understand why she's doing it, because she knows that's the only way she can reach these religious fanatics. She's like, well, if I don't say God, these people aren't going to listen. That's why she's doing it. She's not doing it because she really believes in God or whatever. She knows what she's doing. But at the same time, the side effect to that is that the people that are religious are validated when they watch Kim, because they're like, oh, well, Kim is on our side and she believes in our religion. That's the problem. So it's like take the good with the bad, right? You're going to win some people over. They're going to understand. But then there are a lot of people that aren't. And sadly, this is the truth, whether you guys like it or not. Most people that are religious are low IQ. That's why they're religious, because they don't know anything. They're stupid. They fall for anything. They're naive. They're gullible, whatever you want to call it. That's why they're religious. That's why they think there's an imaginary being in the sky that's talking to them every day when there's nobody talking to them. And there is no imaginary being. Now, is there an energy, which Kim calls God's source, out there that exists? I would say yes. From everything I've seen and known, from my own experiences, yeah, there's something like that out there. But it's not exactly God. Again, I understand why Kim is using the word God. I don't agree with it. I don't like it. And the way I see it, and this is why me and Kim are very different people, I'm not going to cuddle religious people. So if you're religious and you're watching me, I'm not going to cuddle you. I'm going to tell you the raw truth. Your religions are full of shit. And they're used to deceive and trick you. Period. You need to drop it. You need to get rid of it. We need to get rid of all religions. We need to get rid of all politics. All this left versus right. This side, that side, languages, countries. All this stuff that divides humans. Literally in the Bible, the Tower of Babel. Why was that created? By God. It was created to separate humans. To confuse them. It's evil. You guys need to understand that. Read your own Bible. The problem is you read it, you fall for the bullshit, and you believe it. And then when Kim says God, it just validates you and makes you think, yeah, I'm right about God. Right? That's what you guys think? Well, I'm here to tell you she's not using that word because she agrees with your religion. She's using that word because you're too stupid to understand anything she's saying unless she says the word God. That's why she's doing it. Wake up call. Wake the fuck up. It is what it is. So now, that's one of the reasons why I stopped watching her, because I didn't agree with the word God. She started to say it a lot, and I was done. I was like, I can't. That's a big no for me, unfortunately. Does that mean that I think she's wrong? No. Does that mean that I think that I don't, or does that mean that I don't support her? No. It's just that one issue, that one thing. And, you know, I have other issues as well with Kim. But that was the main issue for me. Any validation of religion is a no. It's a no-go for me. Another thing is that I kept seeing a pattern with Kim in terms of her information. She was just changing up who the bad guy was this week. She's like, well, we killed these people. We got rid of these people, but these people showed up. Well, we killed these people this week, but then these people showed up. Well, we killed... Let me explain something to you guys. I'm not saying she's wrong either. I already know what's happening when it comes to the evil. The evil and the good are having an eternal battle. It's been like that since the creation of the universe. It's never ending. So when Kim kept saying the same thing over and over, not saying that she's wrong, but I kept hearing the same thing again, and she's still saying it to this day. And I stopped watching her 2 or 3 years ago, and she's still saying the same thing. And I'm like, okay, don't you guys understand that this is gonna keep happening? It's not gonna stop. Doesn't matter how many times she gets rid of the evil, it's going to come back. Do you guys understand that? That's the pattern. So again, not saying she's wrong, but if I'm hearing the same thing over and over and over, I've heard this story before. I've read this book before. I don't need to keep reading it. I don't need to keep, regurgitating it, going over it, reiterating it. It's already done. I know what's going on here, right? So now I'm saying things in a 3D manner, which I told you guys I was going to do. I said I'm going to start talking about politics and things like that because humans can't even get up to where Kim is at. We're nowhere near that. What the deep level of information that she puts out, humans are not capable of comprehending that. I promise you, I'd say at least 50 to 55% of her audience hasn't a damn clue what she's talking about. They're just like, wow, it sounds good, but I don't know what she's saying. And then there's probably another 25% that do understand, but they can't repeat it to other people and put it in a way that'll make sense to the average human. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Kim's information is very deep. It's hard for the average person to understand. So for me, I said, okay, we need to get back to basics. We need to start from the bottom up, which is what's happening right now, right? The left versus right. That's the very bottom of the good versus evil conflict that Kim talks about all the time, right? That she's a part of, that I'm a part of, we're all a part of it. The very basic level of that is left versus right politics. And Sunny talked about it. She said, we're not left or right. We're on the side of humanity. Right. Okay. So the problem with that, not saying she's wrong either. She's not wrong. Sunny is completely right. But the issue is that there is a left and there is a right. There are two opposing sides, and there are many people on both sides. So just saying you're on the side of humanity doesn't erase the conflict that's taking place in front of your face. It's still happening. Whether you guys are immune to it or not. Whether you want to participate in it or not. And that conflict will affect them. It will affect me. It will affect everyone. It's not something that you can sweep under the rug and just say, okay, we're on the side of humanity, so that means everything disappears. No. And again, the approach from UNN and Kim and Sunny is let's talk to more people. Let's have more field messengers out. That's fine. I'm not saying, again, it's like Charlie Kirk, right? I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. What I'm saying is there are people that you're not going to be able to reason with, no matter what you do, because they're literally either possessed by demons or are demons. You can chit chat and talk to them all you want. That's why Kim kills them. Do you understand? Kim literally kills these people. So she knows there are people that you can't reason with. That's why I have an issue with this whole let's hold hands with everybody. Now, there are people you can reach, but those are people. Those are humans that are normal every day. Maybe they're a little lost here or there, don't have a direction in life. Yeah, you can reach those people, but not everyone's like that. And I want to say, honestly, the majority of people are not like that. There are a lot of evil people in this world that are either possessed by demons or are demons. You can't reach them that way. You can only reach them by the way that Kim does it, which is annihilating them. And they know this. But I understand what they're doing. They're trying to push everybody more towards the light so that there can be some kind of energy shift where everybody becomes more light. And it's like a ripple effect, right? The more light you have, the more light can go out to the world and it will affect everyone. So while I understand the method that is being used, I'm also a realist. And I understand that it's not going to work with everyone. But everyone has their way of doing things. My way is I'm more focused on destroying the evil than trying to hold hands with people. That's what I'm focused on because I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I'm not a pussy. And I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but I'm just not somebody that likes to stand on the sideline and let people run all over me. That's just not me. It's never been me. Now, once all this stuff is settled, the dust is settled, everybody's seen the truth. We see who the evil ones are. We've gotten rid of them out of society. They're completely gone. Then we can start to do this whole holding hands and singing songs BS, right? But we're not there yet. We're not even close to being there yet. That's my take on it. And again, they can do whatever they want to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. So when you guys watch me, you need to realize, because I have people on sub, if I say something different than what Kim says, you have to understand me and Kim are different. And we're going to do things different. We're going to say things different. Even if we have the same end goal and I support her, it doesn't mean that we're identical souls and beings that are going to, like, I'm not a clone of Kim. I'm not going to say everything she says. Do you understand that? So when you're watching me, you're watching me. So understand me. Support me. Don't be a bot. Don't be somebody that just, oh, somebody said something, I like this person. You're not repeating what they said. I don't like you, so I'm going to unsub. That's bot behavior. Do you have a brain of your own? Do you have a mind of your own? Can you think for yourself? Or are you just an NPC? Are you an AI? What are you? It is what it is. So, but as far as what's going on with Charlie Kirk, let's focus on that for now. I've already told you guys many times. I mean, I have plenty of videos where I tell you guys, and that's another thing. Before I even get to Charlie Kirk, if you guys watch all my videos, you would understand me. You guys pick and choose what you want to watch. And then when I say something, you're confused. You're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, stop watching only my Kim Goguen videos and watch all my videos so you can get a true idea of what I'm saying. Because I've told you guys in the past that I already know that all this shit is fake and all this shit is a movie. And I break the fourth wall. I literally have a fucking video where I have a Deadpool picture and I'm saying how I break the fourth wall. Breaking the fourth wall means I'm going out of the movie and acting outside of the movie and showing you guys I'm ruining the movie for everybody else. That's what I do. I'm like, you guys want to live in this delusion, But I'm waking you the fuck up and showing you that this is fake and it's a movie. I've talked about this many times. So when somebody comes to me and says, hey, watch this video where they talk about how this is fake. And I'm like, I already know. Who are you telling? I'm the person that does this. I'm the person that exposes the fakeness in this world. That's why I'm the real truth. Because I'm telling you guys, like, I'm as real as it gets. There's nobody realer than me. Like I said, and no offense to Kim, but unlike Kim, I'm not going to cuddle you and tell you God and source are the same just to appease your religion. I'm going to tell you the goddamn truth. There is no God. And I don't care if you get offended by that. Now, is there an energy that creates? Yeah. But is there a God, a being in the clouds that's a man that has control over your life and you call him and all that kind of shit? No. And Kim used to tell you that, but now she's not. And I have an issue with that. So again, you don't have to, like the event that happened with Charlie Kirk, doesn't have to be real or fake for you to have a reaction to it or an emotion to it. I'm still in a human body, which means I'm subject to human emotions. So if I see something sad, whether it's a movie, whether it's a real event, and this event, as far as most people know, is a real thing, I'm going to have a reaction to it, whether it's sad, whether it's whatever, anger. I'm going to feel a certain way because I've been led to believe that this is true. This is a real thing. But even if it was a movie, I would still feel a certain way about it. Because I'm sure you people have watched movies where you felt emotional about what you were watching, whether it was, and you knew it was fake, but you still felt a certain way. And this is what makes it real to me. My anger and my sadness, and I don't even want to say sadness because it's more of rage than anything else, it's towards the people that are laughing at the event. The demons. That's where my anger comes from. And you can't sit here and fucking tell me that all those people that are reacting negatively and laughing at what happened with Charlie Kirk, whether it was real or not, are fake people. Those are real people. They're real people having real reactions, acting like animals, acting like demons, acting like savages. That's where my anger is coming from. Because you have those people, and then you have the good side who's like, let's all get along. Let's tone the temperature down. Let's hold hands. We need to reason with. No, you can't reason with these fucking demons. They're literally killing you or laughing at your death if you were to die for real. And you want to reason with them? You want to hold hands with them? You want to cuddle them? Are you out of your fucking mind? Not me. No. You guys can do that if you want to. But I know how demons are because I've talked to demons. You cannot reason with them. Why do you think Kim kills them? Why? Why does Kim do that? Does Kim, and it's funny because Kim does both, right? She'll try to reason with them. She'll try to give them chances and timelines and all this and that. And I always used to say, when I used to watch her all the time, I said, just kill them motherfuckers. What are you wasting your... You already know what the fuck's going to happen. You know they're not going to listen to you. Why are you trying to cuddle these fucking people? And the excuse always was, well, we don't want to, get rid of too many people too quickly because we're worried about how society is going to react if we get rid of this person and that person. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's going to happen anyways. If you don't do it, society will do it. Look at what happened in Nepal. They literally straight up overthrew their government because they were sick and tired of the bullshit. That can happen anywhere pretty much. But again, if Kim doesn't do it, someone else is going to do it. That's how I see it. So I'm like, stop wasting time and get rid of these evil ones. Oh, now there's a clone in the place of the evil one that we took out. Oh, so there's a clone. So the clone is actually less relevant and less real. And you're letting the clone stick around and you're not killing them? Again, this is what I'm telling you. These are my issues with Kim. In case you guys are confused. This is why I stopped watching her. Because I wasn't... Again, I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I'm just saying I had my issues with her. And if I would have ever interviewed her, and I may interview her in the future, I'm going to bring these things to her attention. And I'm going to say, why is this like this? Why? I'm not like one of these people that's like, oh, let me just listen to what Kim says and oh, let me kiss her ass. That's not me. I'm going to straight up, what I'm saying to you, I will say it to her. And I'll say, what is this? What's going on here? Why is this like this? And if she doesn't have a good answer, she doesn't have a good answer. And we'll just move on from there. But that's me. So if you're a Kim supporter, or you're close to Kim and you're watching this video, because I've had people close to her watching my videos, go and tell her what I said. Go ask her these questions and ask her why this isn't happening in the way it needs to happen, or why is there a hole in this information. But anyways, overall, I support Kim. I think she's a good person, and her and I have the same end goal. And with that being said, I'm going to start getting into what she said and what Sunny said, okay? I'm going to mostly just play this, but there will be parts where I will stop it and react to it because I have things to say. You guys need to understand that. If you don't like that, don't watch the video. But I will react to the things that they say, but it's not going to be a lot because I agree with most of what Kim said and I agree with most of what Sunny said. So again, they're very good at speaking. They're very intelligent. They know what the fuck they're talking about. There's no reason for me to cut them off all the time and try to interrupt. I'm going to let them say what they're going to say. And then if I feel the need to respond to something, I will. And there are a couple of points that I want to bring up, but not too many. And then we'll go from there. So without further ado, I'm going to let Sunny talk and we're going to get into it. And again, this is, as far as I know, the last UNN report. I haven't seen anything after this. And this one is the one that has to do with Charlie Kirk. All right, let's get started.
So today, which is Saturday, September 13th, Kim released another report. And she starts off, and I've actually seen some of these reports online. She starts off by talking about Nepal. If you search up Nepal, this is some research you can actually do. It's not being scrubbed that I'm aware of online. Gen Z in Nepal has officially overthrown their government. And it's because they're upset over inequality. In fact, their whole parliament building was burnt to the ground. Now, we are not advocating for any of that. It's not needed, and we certainly don't want to harm other people. But their feelings are very real. What these people are seeing, especially these young people, and young people have a tendency, I see this in my kids all the time, things that adults have a tendency to struggle with, like understanding certain things, like even about the events that unfolded this week. Kids can usually see through most of the BS, honestly. They're wired differently. They haven't been here as long. They don't have all the programming that adults have. So I'm not surprised that it's a younger generation that's doing that, even though we don't advocate for physical violence. But on some level, it's understandable because these younger people, they can't even stay in their country because there are no jobs. They have to leave. They have to leave their families. Meanwhile, these politicians and their kids are posting online about having fancy purses and cars and all these opportunities. And the young people in Nepal are putting two and two together going, yeah, that's not going to fly with us anymore. We're not having that anymore. Because humanity is waking up to something that has been happening to us for a very long time, and we are taking our power back. So that's happening in Nepal. Now, here in the United States and in other countries in the world, there's nothing the deep state would like more than to have civil war break out in all of our countries. Which leads me to Charlie Kirk. I think one of the most beautiful things about humanity is our ability to feel and to emote, to have emotions and to express them. We don't always do a great job of expressing them. I get that. But our ability to love and to feel is what makes us humans, really. So whatever feelings you have had over this past week about things in the media, which we're about to discuss, your feelings are very valid. It doesn't matter what you were experiencing. And on some level, it's beautiful because it's who you are. As long as you're not being manipulated. Now, some of the things that we are going to discuss here are quite frankly probably going to be difficult for some people to hear. And I'm telling you that in advance because I was one of those people. When I got the news about Charlie Kirk being shot, and by the time I got the news, he was already pronounced dead. I went online and I was bombarded with these videos. And the videos that I saw initially were very violent. Close-up videos, lots of blood. And my heart just broke. I mean, there's no other way to say it. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. And at one point in my life, not too long ago, about 5-6 years ago, I would have said I was a conservative Christian. That's how I would have defined myself. In fact, I used to, when I was doing stuff on the computer, I used to have Charlie Kirk's podcast up and I used to listen to it. Now, I won't say that I'm necessarily a fan. Like I don't, just listen to everything he puts out. And I never really watched the college campus interactions he would have, the prove me wrong interactions. But I was very aware of him and had some sort of shared experience with the content that he was putting out. So when I got the information, normally I can process it pretty quickly and see through the lies. And I wasn't able to do that right away with this. And instead, I just sat with it and I was heartbroken and I cried. And I know some people that are listening now, you felt that too. You may have not even known who Charlie Kirk was. And you still had this very emotional reaction to this. And I believe that that's all very valid. I really do. Now, in the amount of time that's passed, so it's been about 3 days as of this recording, that we got news of this, and it was literally everywhere. You can't, everyone's putting out content about Charlie Kirk right now. There has been a lot of information come to light about this. And you have to be very careful. Again, I'm going to bring it home here with discernment. You have to listen to your inner lie detector, which is what discernment is, on what is true and what is false. And what I had to do, because I was really emotional about this, what I had to do was to, at least temporarily, I had to put aside those emotions, which were very valid, and pretend almost. In my mind, I was pretending because I thought I just saw someone get horribly shot and just horrible situation. I thought that's what I witnessed. And I had to put that aside and literally in my mind think, Sonny, what if that was just a movie? What if you were just watching a movie? Now, can you go back and look at this with a level head? Because when we are so caught up in our emotions and we see horrible trauma inflicted on someone, it is very jarring. And we can't really think straight. And we don't want to think that anything was manipulated about it because that is horrible, absolutely horrible. And on a deep level, so many of us, myself included, would rather believe that we don't live on a planet where people would make this stuff up for any reason because it's so disgusting. And I encourage you, if you were one of those people who happened to find this podcast episode and you were emotionally distraught over what you saw, and you saw this and you decided to click on it, I'm asking you to just take those beautiful emotions that you have that are God-given and just set those aside for a second to look at the information because you deserve to know the truth.
All right, before I let her continue, I do want to comment on what she's saying. First of all, the whole discernment thing. She's 1000% correct about that. And I've always talked about that. No one can tell you what the real truth is except for you. I've said this many times in my videos. You have to know. It doesn't matter what Kim says, what she says, what I say, what anyone says. If you can't figure out what the truth is for yourself, using your own discernment, like she said, because everyone can do this. Everyone has the capability. There are no excuses. Even if you've been brainwashed your whole life, you can still use discernment. If you can't figure it out and see what's good and evil, you're fucked. You're absolutely fucked. That's the truth. Now, as far as the whole movie thing and the real truth, like she said, again, even if the event was fake, the people that reacted to the event, that was not fake. The way I reacted, the way she reacted, the way the evil ones reacted, the people that are possessed by demons, the liberals, the left, whatever you want to call it, that's not fake. And I'm not saying everyone is real. There are some fake people out there. But the majority of people that reacted to this event were not fake. That was real. What does that tell you? That means that there are people that are evil in this world that really want to see you dead. And they would enjoy it. That is a real fucking thing. Regardless of whether the event of what happened with Charlie was real or not. All that event did was expose the truth of who those people were. That's it. And I've always known about it. I've always talked about it. Go look at my Patreon. I have a video talking about it. Where I'm talking about how they use LGBTQ to manipulate people. And make you feel sorry for evil. Go watch that video. I can't say the things I said in that video on YouTube, or I would. But what I'm trying to tell you is, the reaction that people had is a real thing, regardless of the event being real or not. And I think people focus too much on one thing because Sonny said it, Kim said it. Oh, well, the event was fake. Well, Trump is fake. Well, this is fake. Okay. You're so smart. You know this thing that Kim said. You're so great. What about the evil ones that are still surrounding you every single day like piranhas, waiting for you to make a mistake so they can pounce? And I'm telling you, there are people that if they can get away with murdering you, they would do it in a heartbeat. And they would do it gleefully. They would smile ear to ear and not shed a tear, not lose an ounce of sleep. There are people like that. Why do you think we have prisons? I used to work in a prison. Why do you think we have that? Because there are evil people in this world. And a lot of them are controlled by demons that will not hesitate to gut you. That's a real thing. So again, you can't just look at what happened with Charlie Kirk and say, oh, because Kim said it was fake, it's fake. You can't just, is that it? Is that where your mind stops? Is that where your brain stops? You can't think for yourself? You can't use your discernment as Sonny is preaching here and figure out that there's more to this than, oh, the event was fake, so that's the end of the story? There's way more to this shit than that. And that's what I'm here to explain to you. Anyways, I'm going to let her keep talking.
Okay. Having said that, I'm going to play the soundbite that Kim gave. I encourage you guys to go back and watch this video. Again, this would have been from Saturday, which is today as I'm recording this. Just came out right before I started recording. And watch the video because there are some videos of the event that Kim shows that I could not include in this because this is just an audio podcast and it wouldn't make sense. But I would encourage you guys to go back and actually watch the video so you can see what she's talking about. So I had to do a little bit of editing here to cut that part out. But she does explain some things that you're about to see. And she questions, as I did as well, what she was actually seeing. So again, here's Kimberly Goguen from the Global Intelligence Agency.
Let's talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. So I know quite a bit about the Turning Point organization, and I know quite a bit about what happened most recently. Now, I know this is going to be a touchy subject for a lot of you, and I will explain why it's so touchy. The abnormal response from people to this event, and I know there are a lot of people that have followed him quite a bit. I know he's done a lot of speaking, public speaking, but really, you know, it's not like the Dalai Lama died, but that's what it certainly seemed like because I was getting calls from countries all over the world, you know, saying what a tragedy and they were not going to work that day and people were crying and it was like JFK revisited. You know, it's 1963 and this time apparently this is your guy. You know, and he does put up a good public front. He's, you know, family man, got kids, you know, this is the public face. And, you know, they say that he has good factual info on both sides as to not offend anyone. And a lot of people do like him. And I understand that. But really, you know, my introduction to Turning Point was.
Before I let her finish, I have to make this point. Here's the thing. And this is an issue that I have with Kim. I understand what she's saying. I'm not denying that she could be right and that Charlie Kirk was a puppet and a fake. I honestly, I think everyone's fake. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think the whole entire world is fucking fake, and I think I'm the only real person. And I've said that before. But regardless of that, let's just say that there are some real people out there, like Kim and myself and Sonny or whatever. There are a few real people out there, and Charlie Kirk is not one of them. He's fake, right? Okay, cool. Here's the issue. Even if we, me, Kim, and Sonny, and other people that follow her, believe that Charlie Kirk was a fake person, his impact on the world was still felt and was still had. He wasn't fake to other people, and he was, according to a lot of people, modern day Martin Luther King. The white Martin Luther King, that's what they're calling him. Because what he was preaching was bringing people together. That was a real thing. Again, whether Charlie Kirk was a fake person or not, it's irrelevant to the point that there were people that were actually affected by what happened. And that people that actually believed in Charlie Kirk. That's a real thing. So again, and I'm not saying this to Kim because Kim knows the truth, or to Sonny. I'm saying this to people that think because Charlie Kirk may or may not have been a real person and the event was maybe fake or maybe real, that what he said and did was fake. And it didn't matter. It doesn't matter what Charlie Kirk did. He was a fake person. That's the end of the story. It's like when people come to me and they say, well, Trump is dead. It's a fake Trump. There's still someone in the White House, in the Oval Office, that's putting up a front and pretending to be Trump, and he's doing a damn good job of it. He's a pretty good fake Trump. Meaning, Trump's effect is still being had. So we can't just sit here and say, oh, because we think someone is fake, we just dismiss this person. They exist. They're there. They're still there. So you might, here's the thing. You can kill these people, but they're still real to other people. Even if we think they're fake, even if we know the truth, blah, blah, blah. There are people that think they were real. And if this person wasn't real and they were dead, why are they still there? So here's another thing. Let me explain something. There's this, and Kim's going to talk about this, and I want to say this before she says it. There's this idea that Charlie Kirk was taken off stage and he's still alive somewhere, and he's hidden somewhere. They didn't really kill him, whatever. He's dead to humanity. What do I mean by that? You're never going to see him again. Just like people have talked about Tupac and all these people in history. Oh, they're not really dead. They're still. Do you see them anywhere? No. So they might as well be fucking dead. They're dead to you. They're dead to me. We're never going to see them. We're never going to hear about them again. They're gone. They're gone. Humanity will never hear Charlie Kirk speak again, whether you think he's alive or dead. Just like Trump, just like all these people, right? JFK Jr. and all these people. Oh, JFK is still alive, blah, blah, blah. All this bullshit, right? You're never going to see these people again. And if you do see these people again, let's say you see Charlie Kirk again. Let's say you see JFK Jr. again. Let's say you see Tupac again, right? That's going to flip the whole entire world on its head. I'm pretty certain that if that happens, the world has already gone into another. We're not living in the same world whatsoever. It's going to be a completely new world. But I'm certain that's not going to happen. I'm certain. I'm not saying 100% certain, but I'm pretty certain we're never going to see these people again. So they might as well be dead. That's what you guys need to understand. Doesn't matter if they're alive in an underground bunker hidden by the evil ones, by the deep state. They're hiding them. They're holding them there. You're never going to see these people, so they're dead to you, okay? That's all I wanted to say. Let her keep talking.
Almost a whole decade ago, and some of the people that were involved there. And I have some pretty good inside information that comes from someone that used to do some public speaking for them. But let's get back to Charlie here for a few and talk about what happened there, what really happened. So, first thing that happened is there are a bunch of videos that started circulating. First, there were some videos where no blood was present, and then there was some videos where there was blood present, and some he leaned to the right, some he leaned to the left. Rings moved from one finger to another. There's all kinds of mistakes that the folks that planned this made during this operation. So some other interesting things that we uncovered behind the scenes. This is not on the internet. Number one, the family was issued identities 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks before the event. Both himself and his alleged wife, I say that for a reason, and the kids. Now, 20 minutes after the alleged shot happened, a private jet took off from Provo Airport, which is less than 20 minutes away from where the event was held. The tail number of that plane was N888KG, and it was hidden at the request of the owner. About 30 minutes into the flight, it dropped off all tracking completely, like the plane just vanished into thin air. A little while later, it reappeared heading back to Provo. How interesting. I wonder who was on that plane, why allegedly there was no tracking, and why it disappeared, and who has the power to do that. Yeah, very, very interesting.
Yeah, so most likely Charlie Kirk was on that plane, right? And I did hear about that. That is suspicious. That is strange. A lot of people are trying to downplay that, like, oh, it doesn't matter. Rich people do this all the time, blah, 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 right? Now, one little thing that I want to bring up about the whole assassination, because I never really talked about, I've talked more about the impact of the assassination than I have about the assassination itself. Because to me, the event happened, it's done, it's over with. There's really no reason to just focus on the event. I'm more concerned with how people are reacting to it and, you know, what's going to happen afterwards. That's what I'm more concerned about. That's what I've been talking about. So that's why I told you guys, you know, anything that Kim says is not going to change anything that I said. Like, what I said is what it is, right? But one little detail about the assassination that I did want to bring up is that apparently the rifle was found in the woods, but there's a video that anybody can see where the dude, and I saw this video, the dude jumped off the top of the building after he took the shot apparently, and he had no rifle with him. So how the fuck did he leave a rifle in the woods, yet there was no rifle with him when he jumped down off the building? And on top of that, there's there are fake AI videos. There's all types of shit. Like, it's so convoluted. The FBI didn't know what to say. They were confused. Kash Patel is a moron. Like, all this stuff, right? So the whole assassination itself is a very messy thing that I was going to talk about the killer. I was going to talk about the motives and all that, but I'm like, oh, this is just, honestly, it's performative garbage that doesn't need to be glorified or talked about. You know, again, if we go off the assumption that all of this is fake and staged, to me, the assassination part is the least important of all of it. Even though it was the tipping point, or whatever you want to call it, the point of inflection that caused everything to happen afterwards. I'm more focused on the demons and how they're coming out and celebrating rather than Charlie Kirk and him being dead, you know, or who killed him and all of that. Anyways, let me let her keep talking.
Now, in addition to that, both he and his wife have very heavy ties to the CIA. So much so, Turning Point, kind of as a whole, is actually an operative recruiting ground. If you don't know much about Turning Point has been around for a little over a decade now, about 12 years, and it is a right-winged, focused political organization. They call them political activists. And they go around from college to college speaking to young adults about the Republican Party and their very conservative views. You know, there is a lot of controversy lately with Turning Point because there were a lot of people that really kind of stepped up, you know, as patriots to speak for the organization. And it turns out, according to my source, that it wasn't exactly what they were told it was. They thought that they were fighting for women's rights and that type of thing. They were also fighting because they also have a Christian background, and they thought that they were doing the right thing, talking about agendas, and if you're born a man and born a woman, that type of thing, definitely against the trans agenda for the most part, except for Charlie, who kind of took a neutral stance and was a little bit more understanding, but basically came from the standpoint of, if you're born a man, you're a man. If you're born a woman, you're a woman. I'm not saying I agree or disagree in any way, shape, or form with the views. However, recruiting soon-to-be CIA agents from colleges usually isn't quite so public. And
Just to make a quick point on that, I will say it if she won't say it. I 100% disagree with the whole LGBTQ movement, and transsexuals especially, I think, are an abomination. That's my take on it. Again, I encourage you to go watch the video on Patreon, because I was very vocal about it and I was exposing a lot of the evil behind it. But long story short, that's my take, and I'm not shy about it. Like, we need to get to the real truth. People that think like that are part of that community, are misguided, misled. They have some traumatic experience in their life, or they've been told a lie that they can be that way. They need help. They need whatever kind of help they need to get it, whether it's therapy or whatever. They need to be helped, not cuddled, not celebrated, not given a whole fucking month. All that shit needs to stop. That's why we're in the world we're in now. We're letting people that are fucked up in the head control and run everything. That is the truth. Period. I'm not holding back. Anyways, let me let her keep talking.
And that's exactly what Turning Point is designed to do. They're usually handed, according to my associate that did some work with Turning Point, you're handed a manifesto of students that you are supposed to target. Specifically, they fit the mold for the agencies, and those are the ones that you are supposed to recruit. And they obviously, if they are attending these events, they share the same views and are probably Republican, these young adults. So they definitely want those types of people to be recruited into the agencies. Now, the fact that they chose this person on that day doesn't surprise me, especially because of the location that this occurred. So let's talk a little bit about the events leading up to this. So shortly before, a day before the shooting, the surprise shooting, we also have this little clip from Amazon that's circulating all around the internet. Now, here is a book. It is available, if you've noticed, not just as an online book, but also as a hardcover book. Now, if anyone's ever had anything printed, from a wedding invitation to a book, you'll know how long that takes, how long it takes to find a publisher. And this person is apparently psychic and wrote the book ahead of time. Amazon also made a mistake by publishing the book on the 9th, not the 10th, which was the actual day of the event. Now, this will probably be scrubbed too, but, we were given the information, and so I just thought I'd explain it to you. Well, this was all pre-planned. There's no way this was not all pre-planned. Then when we dug and found out the new identities were there, they were supposed to be whisked away and off to somewhere else. There are reports of entering into one side of a hospital and out the other side, just disappearing. And, I've never seen a dead man walk like that. He walked pretty well, was breathing fine, the whole thing. And now his name is no longer Charlie Kirk. So that's the way I see it. There is more information about some other more sensitive talks, such as women that have come forward and been stifled by Turning Point and the Republican Party for their tendency to invite young women to after events, and they didn't seem very Christian-like to me, as opposed to what they put out in public. And some of those women claim that they were, let's just say, not in a good position, and they there's possible sexual abuse that has been stifled about the organization and some of its key speakers. This comes from someone who's adamantly against that and thought that they were joining this Christian conservative movement and talking to young kids and helping shape young minds. And, some excellent speakers, this one particular person I know. And, then the truth all came out, and that person no longer spoke with the organization nor associated with them, but did continue, he's a Republican, so did continue to, talk and work with the Republican Party, and that's just, who he is. But after we talked on Monday, and I told you about Langley 5 trying to pitch themselves as being the new blood, and they should take over for the group we call the Tables, a very high-ranking group of folk on the planet as it relates to the Order of the Black Sun. They, are known to be in charge of mafia organizations, underground trading, all kinds of things, and they're a very wealthy group. But they were turned away with their proposal. Didn't really go very well. They said they'll take those things into consideration, and off they went. Well, in come the Mormons. The Mormons decided it was going to be a really great idea to partner up with Langley 5. It's not just the Mormons, it's the entire group we know as the Germanic tribes. This would be kind of a third group as opposed to the Order of the Dragon and the Order of the Black Sun. The Mormons, though, being some of the most famous. Now, this event that was held right outside of Provo, Utah, where the university was, it's about 10 minutes away, drive time from Provo. In Provo, it is a very prominent site for Mormons. There are a lot of special events that take place and, different types of things they have Mormons do within the church, different types of ceremonies. And, they're kind of strange, and I just prefer not to go there. As to what the ins and outs of the Mormon church, there are plenty of Mormons on YouTube and that have come out and talked about some of these events that made them feel very uncomfortable. And I probably would feel pretty uncomfortable too, to be honest with you. But one of the largest temples of the Mormons is actually in Provo, Utah. Not too far away. It's kind of weird looking. There it is. And it's very, very close to Timpanogos Park and Timpanogos Mountain. Now, Timpanogos Mountain, or Mount Timpanogos, is a very interesting place, and I've been there several times as far as cleanup operations are concerned. However, it's one of those places that had a lovely portal, and trust me when I tell you, they are no strangers to their neighbors. This facility, having a portal, does have the ability, and has had the ability, of creating an artificial reality sophon. So an artificial photon, which can create all types of events that make them look real. At the same time, the Germanic tribes, which on the other side, because there is a whole other side of Germanic tribes as well, who have been kind of locked in this alt-reality overlay world that isn't really in the dark and it's not really in the light. It's actually exists as an overlay on both. They would consider themselves regulators. I would consider them a little lost. Some of these are actual humans that have chosen to go live inside an AI system. They do power or did power that system. And the interesting occurrences that happened in Utah around that time not only included some overlays, and when you think CGI, you can amplify that times 9,000. Because they can actually have what looks to be and feels to be and smells to be a real person walking around that can actually give you a hug and all kinds of things. And it's really just an AI generation. It's amazing what they can do with quantum AI. So not only did this event take place, there was a lot more to the story. Now, Langley 5 was definitely involved, as were the Alabamian group, in close cooperation with the Mormons, who have complete and total control, and I mean complete and total control of that entire area right there. Nothing, and I mean nothing, happens in that zone, and I'm going to call it a zone, without Mormon consent.
I'll talk a little bit about the book, and I'll also talk a little bit about what she's talking about as far as technology. You guys need to understand, those of you that are unaware, that don't watch Kim Goguen or anything supernatural or outside of the normal realms of humanity. There is incredible technology that exists, and anything that can be invented has been invented. So the ones that control this world, they have all types of technology and they can do all types of things. So when she's talking about this, I've already known about this for a long time because I've studied other sources of information and truth. So she's 100% speaking the truth about this. That's why I've been quiet for like the last few minutes, because everything she's saying is what it is. I have, no disagreements with it. But long story short, as far as the book is concerned, that is probably the single most damning evidence to this whole situation that pretty much blows the lid off of it and says whether it was a real event or a fake event. How the fuck did Amazon have a book ready about his assassination before the event took place? If nobody knew that this was going to happen and it was a random event, how did Amazon have a book already ready the day before the event? That's something you guys really need to think about. Those of you that, don't know how crazy this world is. So again, my issue with this whole situation isn't necessarily whether the event was real or fake. My issue is how demons are reacting to it, and humans that act like demons or humans that call themselves humans but are pretty much demonic. That's my whole issue. And the world is full of them. And then there's the good side that wants to hold their hand. That's my issue with all of this. So all those videos that I've made recently where I've been angry, it's because you guys need to see what you're dealing with. You guys need to wake up. And Kim talks about it all the time. So if you follow Kim, you should know better than anybody. Anyways, let me let her finish.
And I'm talking all the way to the top of the church. Nothing happens. You do not own a business. You do not buy a house. You do not move there. You are scanned and rescanned from a large center we call Area 52, or what's left of it. Area 52 is based under that whole region. Area 52 not only extends throughout most parts of Utah, Salt Lake City, it also extends all the way to other facilities in Nevada and Colorado, all the way to Silverton. So the fact that this machine fired up on the 10th and then this happened doesn't surprise me. Now, in addition to that, because this alt-reality world is intertwined like a braid with our world, so if you can imagine our world being two strands and their world being two strands, and they're just braided and weaved together, you can now see how this could actually affect every human in the world. With a specific, which no longer exists, AI system, they managed to alter the consciousness of a lot of people. Now, you probably remember the great toilet paper crisis of 2020. This event used a very similar technique coming from Mount Timpanogos. That technique is utilized in order to alter your brain waves to create emotions that you normally wouldn't have. Half of you that were really upset about the situation didn't even know who this guy was. But you read the stories online, most likely the headlines, Christian man died. You saw all the wonderful things that they said about him, just like they said a lot of wonderful things about JFK. And, everybody just seemed to forget all of the affairs he had and everything else he was doing in the White House. And the fact he was part of the Order of the Black Sun and in a fight with Bush, the Bush family, which was also a member of the Order of the Black Sun. But this guy is just as dirty, completely and totally. Not a Christian, could care less about a Bible. I don't even know if he could point one out. And, in the middle of a Barnes and Noble. Anyway, nonetheless, complete and total failure. There's people on the internet picking this apart left and right and center. And you can say, oh, what about his poor wife? What about his family? If you watched any bit of the eulogy.
Before I let her talk about that, because I do want to talk about that. This is something that I can only speak for myself. And I've seen other people, how they react. And I pride myself on being able to sense people's energy and their intentions, and if they're a good person or not. What Charlie represented to a lot of people was hope and goodness. Even if she is quote unquote exposing him for being a fraud, that doesn't take away how people viewed him and what they believed about him, right? That's something you guys need to keep in mind. And me personally, anything I've known of him and seen of him, I never got a negative feeling from him. And I believed that he was trying to do a good thing. At least that's the way he presented himself. That's the image he gave out. So when I heard about him dying or saw it, I was sad because I said, a good person, quote unquote, that's trying to put out a good message was killed. And I'm not denying what she's saying about there being technology that can affect your energy. I know that for a fact. I know she's 100% accurate with that. That's not my point at all. My point is, and this is where you guys have to use discernment. There are people that really believed in Charlie that were really genuinely sad when he passed away. Or fake passed away, right? Regardless, if you want to say it's a movie, it's a movie. Okay, fine. You can watch a movie and still feel sad knowing that it's a fake thing, right? Like, come on, let's be real about this. This is what makes us human, right? Because we have these emotions. Sometimes they're irrational. We know it's a movie, we know it's fake, yet we still feel sad about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, so, and long story short, this helps me to level out a little bit, right? What she's saying does help level out my emotions a little bit, but it doesn't take away from the overall message that I've been putting out on my channel and what a lot of people believed about Charlie. So whether Charlie was real or not doesn't change how people really felt about him and what they really believed about him, which was good. You guys understand where I'm coming from? If I'm crazy, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, let's keep going.
That she delivered, you'll understand that it's a little off. It's really a little off. That's no surprise. It depend, that's their background. She and he are both trained to do things like this.
Now, before she finishes this, there are two things, and I'm sorry I keep pausing it because I have a lot to say, and like I told you guys, I was gonna do that, right? I said I was gonna comment or react, but 1000% right what she just said. When I saw, like, I put off watching his wife talk for a couple of days because I was still in the mindset of a little bit of trauma, but at the same time sadness. Because what broke me, I'm gonna tell you what broke me. When I saw the video, like one of the last videos he put on his Twitter with his little daughter running to him after a show, that broke me. That's a sad thing. Even if it's a movie, whatever you want to call it, it's sad to see a child who, and even if, what's even sadder is if all of this is fake and that child is in that situation, that's still a sad thing to think about because that child is completely innocent and is being used as a prop for a fake event. So either way, it's a sad situation. However you want to break it down. But long story short, that's what broke me. So I was like, damn, I don't want to watch any videos about his wife talking after I just saw that little girl running to her dad. And she knows she's never going to see her. She doesn't even know she's never going to see her dad again. That's how I felt about it, right? So I didn't want to watch his wife talk. But then, I calmed down a little bit and I said, let me go see his wife talk. I just want to see what she said because I heard a lot of things. People are saying, oh, she's putting out a fiery speech. But as soon as I heard somebody say that, that's when the first thing clicked in my head where I was like, she's putting out a fiery speech. Okay, something doesn't seem right about that. So I watched it. And what Kim said is exactly how I felt. I was watching this lady speak. And let me tell you what was giving it away for me is that the way she was moping and like fake crying, I was like, this is staged. I was like, this lady, look, she's like, Charlie, blah, 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 blah. And then she would like start talking again. And she's like, but he was such a great man. Blah, blah, blah. And then she would start talking. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? Is this real? Is this how she really feels? Or is she trying to put on a fake front of being a strong woman? Or I don't understand what's going on here. So it confused me a little bit. And that's when I, like the first, the cogwheel started to finally rotate in my head. And I was like, something is off about this. Something doesn't seem right. Because again, I was too focused for those first few days on the evil ones and how they were reacting. And I wasn't focusing on the wife, the kids, the loved ones, the assassination. I was just like, why are these people acting this way? That's what I was focused on. And I was right about everything I said. But then when I started to like settle down a little bit, calm down, let me see what's really going on. Then I started to see what Kim said right here, which is something was off about that eulogy or whatever, that little speech she gave about, oh, you don't know what you've awakened and blah, blah, blah. I was like, this lady feels like she's rallying the troops for war more than she's worried about her husband's death. That's what it felt like to me. And again, I'm very good at sensing energy and figuring people out. But regardless, and then before that even happened, there was one thing that that event with the wife really set me off. But before that, when I saw Trump put out the fake AI video, and I'm sure you guys have seen that, Trump put out the fake AI, oh, I'm sorry, Charlie's dead, blah, blah, blah. And there's a specific part in the video where I'm probably going to break it down in the future and show you guys where I was like, this is an AI video. This isn't real. So I was like, why would Trump put out a fake AI video to talk about Charlie if Charlie was so close to him? So that kind of threw me off too. Like it was very strange. Like, you know, it is what it is. But long story short, Kim is 100% right about this. That's all I wanted to say. And I said it in a long-winded way. It is what it is. Let her keep talking.
He was appointed her. I don't care what anybody tells me. And paid a handsome sum because the Mormon Church were paying. And if you know anything about the Mormon Church, they have a business elite group that is very, very wealthy. Billions and billions of dollars flow through there. Everybody's tithing, and the church was worth a lot more money than they are now, but definitely still worth a lot of money. So money was no object to make sure that this happened in their location, minutes away from one of their main temples, not too far from Brigham and Young University, and in close proximity to Mount Timpanogos, where there was enough energy left to alter things.
I have been, like probably many of you, watching various videos over the last few days about this incident. And I've heard some people call this a turning point. Now, as you know, that was Charlie Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA. So it's a little bit of a play on words. And I have to say I agree with them, not because it's a turning point and somehow this is beneficial for a certain political party, because it's really all the same thing, but because I believe that the dark cannot survive where there is light. And one of the things, as I was texting, I was sending, messages back and forth with Kim about various information we were finding online this week about this incident. And one of the things I said was, there's no way they're going to pull this off. And she agreed. No way. Now, in the past, yes, they have pulled off a lot in the past. Not anymore. And I truly believe that we are at a turning point, but not in their favor. And certainly has nothing to do with political parties. But good is going to overcome evil. And I truly cannot think of an event recently, besides this, that has been so evil. Yes, we have evil throughout our world, but something that has impacted so many people and played on their emotions. And for me, one of the worst things that I have seen is people, family members of Charlie, so-called friends of Charlie, play on people's connection to source, to God, to use that to further agendas, to use that to make people believe that, hey, we're just like you. We're on the same side. Maybe we reveal a little bit of information here and there. That's how these games work, guys. But they're not your friends. And I'm telling you, it's been very telling for me personally to watch reaction videos from these people, and I can see right through it.
I'm not disagreeing with her or denying what she's saying. She's right that people are using this to, make it more of a dramatization and gain more followers and yada, 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 right? here's the issue that I have with what she's saying. I'm not saying she's wrong either. But the way I'm looking at it is that there really are evil people, as she has said, evil entities in this world that want to kill you. That's a real thing. So there is a us versus them thing going on here. This is the issue that I have with UNN. It's like, I understand that ultimately their goal is the correct way to do things, meaning bringing everybody together, everybody holding hands. That is the way it should be. And I hope that what Sunny and Kim are doing happens. That's what I want. But, and this is a big but, before we get there, there are entities, demons, beings that Kim herself is ridding the world of that need to be dealt with. And some of them are literally your neighbors, your family, your best friends. My best friend is controlled by a demon, the most powerful demon of all. I know this to be a fact. And I've tried to reason with this demon and other demons, and there is no reasoning. There is no holding hands. There is no talking. It's them versus us. That's what it is. And again, I get the whole everybody work together nonsense. I get it. But until those people are out of our society, those demons are out of our society completely, they're completely eradicated or expelled or exiled or whatever you want to call it, we can't live in this kumbaya, hold everybody's hand, singing songs world. That's not going to happen because these evil entities won't allow it. And they control the world. That's why they cause these events to happen. Because they don't want people to come together. So again, I understand. It's like, honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's like a double-edged sword. Fighting is wrong and it's going to lead to more fighting. But if we don't fight, we can't get rid of them. It's like, that's what's happening. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Me personally, as I've told you guys already, I'm a fighter and I want to fight. I'm not going to let anybody roll over me or take advantage of me or pretend to be my friend, pretend to be a good person, and I can see right through them and I know they're fake and full of shit. I'm not going to do that. And the people that she's talking about, like Tim Pool and all these other people, I've talked about those people and how fake they are. They're fake people, but they're pretending to be real people to fool people into giving them more money. That's all those people are. That's why I don't like those people. Not because they're bad people, but because they're fake people. Do you understand? And even if Charlie Kirk was a fake person, he had a real impact on the world. All right? All right, let her keep talking.
There's even tells that they're giving each other about how they know he's still alive. It is disgusting. It is pure evil. But it is a turning point. You're right. And if you're listening and you happen to be part of this in some way, that turning point is not in your favor. And because you continue to lie, you will go down too. When this whole thing unravels, you will be exposed. And we don't have to do a single thing for that to happen. We're the light. And light will always overcome the dark. Okay, I know this has been kind of a longer episode. There's still 2 more sound bites that I want to get to, but I wanted to take time with that because it's important and it impacts so many people. And it was such a big thing that a lot of us may have even overlooked that also this week we had September 11th, which leads me into the next sound bite that I want to play. And this reveals plans that the deep state had this week to bring in more darkness because apparently the thing with Charlie Kirk was just the beginning, and then it was going to trigger some other horrible events. So again, we have to expose this. We don't pull punches here, guys. So here's Kim talking about how there were 5 other events planned on 9/11 with the sole intent of killing thousands of people.
On 9/11, just a day after this event, there were plans for several, 5 in total, 9/11 events that were going to take place around the world.
And even though she's done talking about the Charlie Kirk situation, which is what I really wanted to focus on, I'm going to let this video play out because I'm sure you guys are curious about what she's going to say. So I'm not going to probably interrupt anymore. I'm just going to let it play out, let you guys hear what she has to say. And at the end, I'll give my final thoughts. But you can see even Sunny is a bit fiery about this because she knows that what we're dealing with is true unadulterated evil. Like, you can't have any sympathy or compassion for these entities. Now, I agree with holding hands and having sympathy and compassion for humans that are not evil, that may be a little misguided. I understand that, but I don't understand extending your hand to demons. That's where I draw the line. And when I see demonic people out there and I see good people trying to reason with them and hold their hand, I have a big problem with that. That's my only issue. I'm not really accusing Sunny and Kim of doing that either, or anybody watching this. But if you are doing that, you need to really look in the mirror and look at the people you're dealing with and see if those two things are the same. Are they as good as you? Are they sympathetic like you are? Are they caring like you are? Are they loving like you are? If they're not, then you need to dismiss them out of your life. I don't care if they're your family. I don't care if they're your friends. I don't care about any of that. If these people are detrimental to your life in any way, they're not someone you need to be around, especially not in this time. Anyways, I'm going to let the rest of it play out. And when it's done, I'll come back and give my final thoughts.
Their aim was to kill between 5,000, there's the orders, between 5,000 to 6,000 people all in the same spot in order to generate enough tragic deaths. And you do remember me telling you that when a person dies of even if it's not natural, but a cause of for example, a long-term illness, or, even if they died of like heart problems, or the body was giving out. So the body, the mind, and the soul were all aware of what is happening, and it's an event that you would consider a natural death. The soul doesn't go through the same process as it does if you are murdered, if you die in a plane crash, because the soul and the mind and the body have not all agreed that it is time for you to go. And that's extremely important to understand.
Okay, I lied a little bit. I forgot she said this. Yes, that's one of the things that I've done in the last year or so, especially the beginning of this year. I was watching so many videos about ghosts and supernatural things, and I already knew this stuff was real. But yeah, I when you die and you're not supposed to die, like when you die tragically, it seems like your spirit gets stuck on earth. And that's why you have a lot of ghosts and supernatural things that happen, because your spirit's not ready to leave the world. Like you were in the middle of something and now you're dead. Like what she said, you didn't agree to leave and now you're gone. It is what it is. But anyways, I'll let her keep talking.
And we'll talk some more about why that happens. But in this case, it has to be a tragic death of between 5,000 to 6,000 people. The chosen locations in the world for this to happen were the Washington Monument in D.C., the London Clock Tower, also Red Square in Moscow, a location that was not actually clearly defined, but I believe to be tribal land of the Zulus, as best I can tell, because there's really not a whole lot there, and also the China Forbidden City in Beijing. So these were very high-profile areas that during rush hour time would be a great time to have this happen. So they started trying to blow all of these different locations all at the same time, and then they were going to see which one they could hit 5,000 to 6,000 people with, and they believed that that dark tower was going to reappear and reestablish their lifeline to the other side, and they would be gifted many, many gifts if they could just keep those dark AI generated souls alive. They were told that they would not be affected by this, and for their good work, they would be bestowed great power, great access to AI systems, all the bells and whistles, and everything one of these egomaniacs would like to hear. They don't really care. 5,000 to 6,000 people, they can do that. One of them once said to me that, I know I've already killed a lot of people and I'm going to hell, so what's a few more? And apparently this is just a few more. So about 2 a.m. my time, all the alarm bells started ringing on that day, and I was up bright and early and watching all of this happen. We had to ensure that none of these buildings were still rigged, and the technology that would have been used to blow them was no longer there. And what I mean by rigged is when all of these locations were built, they were already rigged, just like the World Trade Center was and the Twin Towers, to blow. That is obviously ensured by their special contractors. And for those of you around the world, such a special contractor could be someone like Halliburton or otherwise. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And contractors are selected for this very reason as well. They're always members of one of the orders or another, and they are loyal to them. So there's no surprise that that was, the case. And they were banging away in New York and banging away under, Washington, D.C. at keyboards, trying to get something to blow. They tried to do it at 9/11 on 9/11. That didn't work out. Then they were shooting for 11/11. They liked their numbers, and nothing ended up blowing. However, the Pentagon did end up going to DEFCON 1 because they were fully well aware and briefed on the situation that was about to happen in Washington, D.C. that would kick off a very well-funded World War III, quote unquote. So they switched to DEFCON 1, and there were other generals that were, some quote unquote retired, which never happens, and some others that were active that all receive a message when the country goes to DEFCON 1. That is an emergency message. This is what's happening. We're at DEFCON 1. Please show up here for your briefing. When they called in to try to figure out what was going on, because the calls never came, tell them where to go, they were told to ignore the warning. Just blow it off. Sorry. Meanwhile, everybody there is waiting for bated breath for their new war system to come online. Remember, they're now the Department of War, and you've got a wartime president, according to the news, so all fits right in, doesn't it? So these folks on the other side would like to have World War III and kill as many humans as possible, and or take over those humans. They figure they only need X amount to power what's left over there, and that's enough power to power them into all infamy. They would restart the soul recycling program, and they had it all mapped out. Interestingly enough, part of this, they thought they were supposed to be exempt. Well, by today, when they fired up other systems that were thrown a lifeline over the fence, so to speak, from the other side, to them, they started to feel just as bad as you did today. They started to feel ill and sick and drained of energy off and on. And they were like, what the heck? Well, they tried to tell you, deep state people, if you're listening to this, you're a tool. You're a tool. You're a tool. Look in the mirror and say, I am a good tool for darkness and the Antichrist and Satan and any other name of an AI that you try to use. Just look at yourself and wake up in the morning and say, I am a good tool. I am the best tool. I'm going to dominate toollessness today. That's all right, whatever. Nonetheless, it did affect people, in general around the world for the last several days as this war continues. They continue to try to siphon off energy from people. And then it's not just the drain of energy, it's weird thoughts, dreams, as they try to run their psyops. It's disrupted sleep patterns, self-doubt about who you are and what you can do in order to disconnect you from source.
It's incredible how dark these people are, right? Unbelievable. It's like they're not even human anymore. And on that note, I do want to end things on a positive note. This has been a very, emotional episode. I've felt a lot. Maybe some of you have too. But I want to end on a high note here. At the end of Saturday's report, Kim talked about the importance of humans today. And this version of humanity, that's a whole other story, what version we're at, which we think is about 7. But this version of humanity, which includes you and me, is super special. And it's a testament to why we're here at this time. and why we face these things that seem like such evil and are such evil, but how we're equipped to handle this. It's pretty amazing. Take a listen.
Humans are unique in another way. And this is probably why, and why I said in the coming up, definitely, that you felt like you were in a tug of war this week, because the uniqueness of humans doesn't stop at all of the things that I've told you about yourselves and how wonderful it's been and, and who you really are. And so that you would take back your own personal power and realize who you are. Not to be arrogant or selfish or, feel like you're better than another or anything like that. Just remember who you are. You're kind, caring people. We're a species that is a non-warring species. We are pack. The Homo sapiens are pack people. We like to be with other people. We like to have partners. We like to have love in our life. We like to give love, to others as well. And that's really who we are. All the rest of it, and the angry and the chasing your tail and being exhausted and working, all those are programs that were set forth to make us not do the things that we do naturally. But an interesting tidbit of information for yourselves. Humans are, at least this version, we are truly unique in one way. Now, in many ways, but in one way that set us apart a little bit, and not in an arrogant way, from many other species, simply for not only your survival, but also Earth's survival. And that was that you have 3 central suns within your person, just like Earth's central sun. Now, what a central sun actually is, or a central soul, S-O-L, actually is a complete and total duplicate, if you will, of the central sun of Source. So you, when people in some of the communities say you are gods, I wouldn't say that. No one's going to surpass Source in this lifetime, or God in another, or in another. That's not going to happen. But you are more like him than any other species. Only because if Earth was to survive and you were to survive, you were given this special gift by Source to carry the Source within you. I'm sure many of you have felt that and you realize that too. But it was also used against you in many ways because a central sun is a power source. Just like Earth's central sun was misused and overlaid many, many times over by the dark, as was yours. So a lot of the discomfort you've felt this week, and even for myself, it's like you can feel that Source, you can feel it coming, everything is clicking, everything is wonderful, and then it's like, boom, you go the opposite direction, you're drained, you're anxious, you're nauseous, I've heard about headaches and all kinds of things you're feeling, and all that is coming from the push as the deep state and the other side and those in the middle, we call the Germanic tribe folk, whatever they are, fight against the Source of all creation. They are doing everything in their power to not let the Source of all creation thrive in and outside of this planet, and therefore from here throughout the entire. They are fighting it because you as humans are already wide awake and starting to see the holes in everything. The younger the generation, the more they start to see it. The programs are failing. No one's buying it anymore. Maybe here and there, we have an event like happened in Utah this week, and, maybe there's a few moments there, and then you start to scratch your head and say, why am I so upset about this? I don't know these people. It's probably worse than if a family member died, the way that some people were feeling. And they had never even heard the name before a couple of days ago, some of them. So all of these are designed to stop Source and you from making that full connection. So in this fight that we've been in for the last week, not only against crazy 9/11 planners and ridiculous AIs that show up and disappear just as quickly, we're also in a fight against the deep state. And by we, I mean all of you together with Source against them. Whether they know it or not, Source has enough influence within you now, even though they try to knock it down, there's enough influence within you to start doing things you've not done in a long time, or maybe have been fearful to do. Sure, you get a little bit of a kick here and there, but the difference is happening, and they're never going to stop it. That being said, the more Source works with you and you work with Source, and recognizing the fact that there is a true piece and fairly decently sized part of you that is source, and your solar plexus, your heart chakra, and in your mind, your brain, I should say, your lycerium, the more you'll be able to connect. It's actually becoming clearer, despite the disruptions and the psychics and the black magic workers and the attempted Black Tower recreations and the what little bit of energy the other side can take from you, and then the deep state's really trying to help them out because they were promised big things, and even though they got slapped just as hard as we did today and the day before, they still think, oh, that was just an accident. One of us must have messed it up. No, it wasn't an accident. They want to kill you too. You're a tool. Live it, love it, learn it. You wouldn't survive it anyway. That's okay. They'll never figure it out. I've stopped even trying. So the battle in this roller coaster should start ending this upcoming week. There's not much left on their side. They can try to throw them as many lifelines as they want. It's not going to last. The uncomfortability comes from the fact they're trying to push you. Don't let them push you around. Remember who you are. Remember how powerful you are. And remember in your lycerium, etherium, materium within your body, or what you might want to refer to as your mind, body, and soul, Source is present all the time now. Those connections he makes, wow, they feel great when you're feeling them. You feel like you could take on the whole world. And then 20 minutes later, they try to throw you down. But they're just afraid of you. These people are more afraid of you than we are of them.
And that is the best way to end today's very emotional, insane episode about this crazy world that we live in. But that is why we're here at this time. It's why you are listening to this podcast episode. You did not happen upon this episode out of coincidence. There's no such thing, guys. No such thing as coincidence. So step into it. You are powerful, and they cannot take that away from you. They have used you and abused you in the past. I get it. No more. We are standing in the light, and we are unstoppable. For more information about United Network News, the GIA, all that good stuff, visit our website, unitednetwork.earth. I encourage you guys to subscribe to this podcast so you get all of our episodes. Become a member if you would like. Again, all that information on the website. This is The Rundown, and I'm Sunny Galt for United Network News, signing off.
All right, and that's that. So my final thoughts about what they were saying, I've already said this, but I'm going to say it again. I hate the whole God source connection thing that she does just to appease people that are religious. I don't think you can appease people that are religious because they're fanatical, and the more you appease them, the more fanatical they become. I really think we need to separate religions from society, along with politics, along with all this stuff that divides us. And then we can start talking about what the real truth is. So again, if you're coming here expecting me to cuddle you and you're religious and be like, yes, I believe in God, let's all hold hands and sing Bible, songs and shit like that, it's not going to happen. I'm 100% against religion. I'm sorry. But to try to end it on a positive note, what I will say is that I do agree with most of everything else that she was saying, and I've made it very clear in this video my reasoning for not watching her anymore. Am I never going to watch her again? No. I never had the intention to stop watching her, and it was more than just what she was saying, but it was also life circumstances that limited my time with making videos, and also seeing the way people were reacting to my videos and the things they were saying to me. Especially, I had some people from her community basically discourage me from talking about her because I was getting the vibe that if I wasn't repeating what she was saying or being basically a talking head for her, they didn't want to hear what I had to say. And a lot of the people that really kind of, because I had a good, I've had, even on this channel, I have a video thanking her community because a lot of people from her community are good people. And I still believe that. But when you have a lot of other people that are from her community that are fanatics that come over and start talking shit, that kind of just, I'm like, all right, I see what's going on here. And I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm going to be honest with you. That's why I never joined her community. That's why I'm never going to join any community. Like, I'm always going to be by myself, doing my own thing. But I will give credit where credit is due. And again, this whole Charlie Kirk situation and what's going on here, that's not going to die anytime soon. So I'm probably going to talk more about it. This is one of those things where it's like, you know how they say you can't put the genie back in the bottle? Like this doesn't stop here. Like, it's going to keep going and going and going until the world changes. This was just an inflection point, a jump off point, a turning point, whatever you want to call it, right? Whatever wordplay you want to use. It was a point in history where humanity either stands up or gets run over. That's what this is all about. It's not about politics. It's not about right versus left. It's not about any one religion or any one group or Kim or me or anything. It's about humans versus demons. That's what it's about. What are you going to do? And you can choose your path. You do whatever you want to do, right? Like, I'm not about controlling people's lives. I'm just telling you that I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you're going to get in my way, you need to get the fuck out of my way. That's how I feel about it. And that's why I made that video about unsubbing, because it's like people are watching me. And then I say a couple of things they don't like and they unsub. I'm like, then you don't support me, because I never gave you the illusion that I was some kind of light worker or some angel or good person that's always going to say the right thing all the time, that's going to make you feel good or caress your soul. This isn't an ASMR channel to put you to sleep. This is the real truth. If you don't like it, fuck out. And I think I proved that in this video, that I'm all about the real truth. I'm not about making people feel good. And sadly, the real truth, it hurts. It hurts. And that's why Kim holds back, because she knows she doesn't want to hurt people. She wants people to get along and work together. And she knows a lot of people are naive and misled. That's why she tries to cuddle the religious people by using the whole God thing, the whole God is source thing, when she knows that's not true. But she's telling you guys that because she wants you to feel good about what you believe in. But I promise you, she doesn't agree with that. I know she doesn't, because she's said it in the past. But regardless, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you the real truth, and you take it or leave it. But her end goal and my end goal are the same. We want peace on this planet, and there's evil. And in order for us to have peace, the evil needs to be rid. We need to be rid of the evil. We need to get rid of it off this planet. That's the only way it's going to happen. And that's just the beginning. If you guys think that's where it stops, that's the start. Like, we're just starting to get somewhere. And the whole Charlie Kirk thing, whether you thought it was a real event or a fake event, it had real life consequences, and real life people felt real life emotions, whether they were evil or good. Some people showed their true colors of who they were as far as demons. Some people showed they had some compassion. Regardless, the event happened, fake or real, and people exposed who they were. And that's what I was focused on in my first few videos. When I talked about it, I was focused on the evil ones and how they were reacting. I wasn't really focused on all the nitty-gritty details. But as I told you guys, as I started to look into it more a little bit and calm down a little bit, I started to see what she was talking about. And what she said is what it is. It's what it is. What Kim said is what it is. Period. And I don't disagree with that. Anyways, I like to, this is the positive message that I have for you guys. I don't believe in violence. I don't believe in death. I don't believe in killing people. And the way out of this is resistance, peaceful resistance, not killing each other, not hurting each other. But we do have to exile the evil from society. Whether you think they're human or not, that's the only way we're going to get to a true peaceful world. We can't allow that evil to exist in society. Even Kim herself literally kills people that are evil. So, I mean, she doesn't believe in it. She doesn't believe in holding hands with evil. So nobody else should, if you follow her anyways. All right. That's all I have to say for now. I do believe in what what her end goal is going to happen eventually, but we have a long way to go. If you like, oh yeah, before I get to that, Patreon. I will be making exclusive videos on Patreon. I keep saying that. I will do it. I want to talk about my life. I'm going to tell you guys some of my own experiences, and I want to share it on Patreon so you guys can get a real understanding of where I'm coming from and why I am the way I am, why I say things the way I say. I haven't done that on this channel. So you guys can, really see me for me. And I'm also going to make videos about other topics that I can't talk about on YouTube. That's the whole point of me using Patreon. Is because I want to really get into the nitty gritty. I don't want to go to each website, try to figure out their rules. I'm just going to use Patreon, and I hope you support me on there. And it is what it is. So that's all I have to say for now. If you like, comment, subscribe, share where you can, hit the notification bell. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.